Hello, anime fans. We are the Anime Connoisseurs. I'm Noah,
I'm Johan.
And I'm Chaos.
and today what we're going to be doing is we're ranking our top five favorite JoJo characters, each of us.
Yeah, I wanted to get this out before Part 9 comes out, or releases.
Mm-hmm. I'm
And
excited for that. So this list is going to be of our personal favorite characters. This isn't really objective for the most part. It's just kind of a ranking of the characters that we like the most, the ones that resonated with us the most, or just we think are cool.
yeah, this is purely subjective. It's not like based on quality of writing or anything like that. It's purely just, oh, I like this character.
Totally, totally. So, for number five, I'll go first. My number five pick is something that honestly even surprised me when I thought of it. My number five pick is Jean-Pierre Polnareff.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got a really got a really unique story. I think he's set up as this like happy-go-lucky dude. Uh, kind of like
Goofy,
he's very fun, very like energetic,
goofy.
goofy, exactly. Um, but he basically gets like shit on and base like through all of part three. Like the whole meme
Yep.
about him is that like anytime Polnareff goes anywhere, he gets attacked by a stand user.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's like the what is the term you use? He's like the um like what do boxers use to
A
fight?
jobber.
Yeah, no, not a jobber. It's like he's like the punching bag of part 3. That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely a punching bag, and debatably a jobber. Um, and his turn in part five was also pretty unique.
Yeah.
You rarely see a character, especially like a main character, come back like this. Like completely broken and beaten down, and so different from how he was in part three. It's almost unrecognizable.
Yeah, that was one of the best plot twists or like reveals, character reveals in the
Yeah, it's
series.
cool how like they chose Polnareff of all people to come back.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. I mean,
instead of like Jotaro or Joseph.
yeah, it's funny
Well,
because Jotaro is in part five for like 2 seconds,
Yeah.
but yeah, it just
Um
kind of makes that like misconnection
mhm,
kind of interesting to think
yeah.
about.
Are you a fan of his like revenge motivation in part 3?
I mean his revenge motivation, I guess it's pretty standard, I think, I guess it is pretty compelling. I think I like the what was it, the hangman fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um oh man, it's been a long time since I've seen part 3, but yeah, Polnareff fan favorite. A lot of people like him. I have friends, that are fans of him, and he is pretty funny. Not the
Totally.
funny. I don't consider him the funniest character in the series, but he's
Of
up there.
course.
He's
Yeah.
like, he's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have thought about this. I wouldn't have said this like maybe if you had asked me like a month ago. And like it was only when I really started thinking about this that I would realize I do like Polnareff a lot.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he's a great character, and there's a lot of memes around him. Like
Mm-hmm.
Polnareff Land.
Polnareff land. Those are the real JoJo lands. Mark my words.
Oh man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fawnref is great, and also people like his stand. Some people I've heard people criticize Part 3, saying like, "Oh, Polnareff's stand is really basic," but apparently he has like there's a couple abilities like where he launches like the rapier blade.
Yeah.
it's basic, but I don't think that makes it bad at all. It's
Oh
just like
yeah. I mean,
just knight jousting kind of.
yeah,
And
I mean, Polnareff's stand is like it's funny with how
Silver
simple it is. It's
Chariot.
literally just a guy with a sword.
Silver
um,
Chariot is fine.
it has a cool design too. I mean, it does have a cool design, and it has. I mean, it does have some pretty cool like fighting stuff. And I do, and also Silver Chariot Requiem is like one of the cool. It's got a really cool design.
Cool. I was gonna say that Silver Chariot Requiem is one of the best alternate designs for a stand.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I have to say, I think, about Polnareff. Chaos, you're next.
My choice for number 5 is kind of left field and probably going to be controversial. It's going to be Stroheim.
Stroheim. Oh.
Stroheim, yeah. Yeah, like
do tell.
He just like I really love like sort of the over top, overacted kind of characters. Stroheim is like such a weird dynamic in that you have like just a straight up bad guy as an ally.
Yeah, that whole like
he's just like really just straight up like you introduce him, he like straight up like murders a whole village.
Yeah, that's it's a really weird. It's one of the most. It's a really interesting that subplot in part 2.
Yeah,
I've heard criticisms of it, but like you said, it is just kind of like it's just kind of funny to think about, honestly.
Yeah, Stroheim is one of the most like meme characters in the series.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, you're right. He is really fun, really bombastic. Like, like you know, his whole like, nothing can beat German engineering and all that.
Yeah, the community is a big fan of him.
Yeah. I mean, he would be a piece of shit in real life, but
oh yeah, I mean,
he's JoJo.
He is a piece of shit in the context of JoJo. He again, our introduction to him is just straight up like murdering innocent people.
Yeah, and I mean, he is
he's got his like weird twisted sense of honor where he like lets the one kid who like volunteered to die go, but
oh no,
yeah, oh, I forgot about that scene. Yeah,
I don't remember a lot of part 2 because it was a long time ago, except for certain bits of it. But isn't he the reason why Cars gets his ultimate form?
Yeah, kind
of, sort of like they shine the UV light on him. When
I mean, it would have
like,
happened anyways, but
yeah,
because Sunrise was like
he put on the mask before they like blasted him.
Yeah, and obviously he is a part of a certain fascist group.
Yeah,
funny German that will not name in the hopes of not getting.
Yeah. I mean, no, we'll just cut it out. Yeah. It's I will say that is one of Iraqi's like what's the word I want to say? Like weird, strange like writing decisions.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It is JoJo's bizarre adventure.
Yeah. It's pretty wacky, and you know, people say like, oh, it doesn't get wacky until part 3, but no, even part 1 and part 2 have some weird stuff in it. Okay. So my number 5, and this is definitely not. I wasn't surprised by this at all, but it is Kakyoin from part 3. And yeah, so your favorite part. I'm assuming your favorite part 3 character is Polnareff, but mine is Kakyoin, and I don't know. I always enjoyed him out of the group. I think the memes surrounding him are hilarious, and that's one of the reasons why I've grown to like him. Like, you know, the MILF Hunter meme and you know, the donut meme. You know, rest in peace.
Yeah.
And Bakuna. You know, like the no one can deflect the Emerald Splash. You know, but it's really funny in Japanese because he screams Bakuna. You know.
Yeah.
Also, in fighting games, I tend to use him. In Heritage for the Future, I use Kakyoin and New Kakyoin. New Kakyoin is where he gets the glasses.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, Noriaki Kakyoin, he's just got a great. I think his design is good. And I like his stand too. I think his stand is like the coolest out of the main ones because
totally, yeah.
And he uses it to fight, and like, or the way he utilizes it is really creative. Like when they fight, I forgot the stand name, but it's the one that goes inside the person's brain.
The lovers.
Lovers, yeah. The way Silver Chariot and how do you pronounce it? Hierophant Green?
Hierophant Green.
Hierophant?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, something I forgot to mention about Polnareff. I did not know Jean-Pierre Polnareff was a real person. I thought that was just like a made-up name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that, but just I love the
Like
memes surrounding
normal like
Kakyoin.
French name.
Yeah. No, I wasn't. I didn't know that Jean-Pierre Polnareff was a real person, but anyways, I'm a huge fan of the memes. I love his stand and his design and the way he fights. You know, the webs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's my number 5. Noriaki Kakyoin from Part 3.
Yeah, I think honestly, in terms of part 3 characters, Kakyoin isn't very far behind Polnareff for me.
Okay.
So definitely
That's
get
good.
it.
Yeah.
Uh,
And his fights are good too.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. On to number 4. My number 4 pick is Johnny Joestar, the protagonist of Part 7 Steel Ball Run.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, Johnny is my favorite protagonist, mostly for writing reasons. I think he's easily got the most compelling arc, I think, out of all the JoJos. Uh, and a really unique power set compared to the other JoJos. All the other JoJos, they just kind of have like their punching ghosts with their one ability or maybe 2 abilities. But
Yeah, if
I
you're
mean,
Giorno.
yeah. But Johnny, I mean, he's got the fingernail bullets. Like he can create little portals and suck himself into them, and he eventually does get a punching ghost like the other JoJos, but even so, it's still pretty unique.
Yeah, when I was reading Part 7, I didn't really understand his character arc, but so I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it because I know I agree that he's very well written, but I didn't really understand it that much, you know.
Yeah, I mean, uh, it's just about him finding his resolve, I think. You know,
Mhm.
like he starts out the story like, he's crippled, he's got like nothing to look forward to, and uh all he knows how and all he can do is like, follow behind Gyro and try to try to master the spin. uh
Yeah.
and
Um,
and he develops that camaraderie with Gyro, and develops his powers some more, and it's unique, and it's really unique because all the other JoJos, they more or less start out as, they're the perfect, like, the paragons of justice and resolve.
yeah.
uh and Johnny kind of has to grow into that,
Mhm.
and it's just something that Araki hasn't really done before, and I really think he pulled it off well.
Yeah, and before he was crippled, he was a horse racer, right? He
Yes,
was
he
a
was a horse
jockey.
racer.
A jockey,
And
yeah.
that's another thing. Yeah, he learned to work. He learned to work with his disability and succeed despite it.
Yeah. Wasn't he kind of a bad person before he
Oh yeah, like he was a bad person before he got crippled. He was kind of a bad person after he got crippled too.
yeah.
Um, if you remember, like the thing where he has like the fire in his eyes, like he's has no hesitations about just straight up killing people.
Yeah. Oh, and also the stuff with his father towards the end,
Yeah, that too.
that was pretty sad. I think Johnny is great. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I could probably say more if I like had time to write some stuff down, but
We
that
already did a video about him,
that's
remember?
true. We did check it out. Check it out. We did a tier list about our favorite shonen protagonists.
No,
I'll
no, no,
link
no,
it.
no. You talked about him in the
Oh right,
first
I
video.
did that one too.
Yeah.
Link it here. But yeah, you can probably get a more in-depth take of what I'm talking about in that video or those videos. But so yeah, that's Johnny Joestar.
Do you have anything to say about him, Ikaria?
I don't think have you? I don't know.
I haven't like probably read Part 7, so I don't really have anything to
Mm.
say on him. But it is cool to hear.
Yeah, he's the goat.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think hearing about like him like having to overcome a disability is always like a cool thing to Like
Yeah, and he's pretty strong too.
can be like really inspiring to people.
Yeah.
Totally.
He's
Yeah.
pretty strong too, like in the in terms of quote unquote power scaling,
Yeah. You could
Yeah.
argue he's like top five
Yeah,
top five strong stance by the end.
yeah, his one is like Tusk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
the final Tusk, Tusk
Yeah,
Act 4,
it's
I
like
think.
ridiculous. I've
Yeah.
heard.
Tusk Act 4 is very strong.
Yeah.
It's up there with some of the strongest in the series. Not as strong as another JoJo protagonist, but he's he's up there. All right, your turn, Chaos.
Okay, so number 4 is another sort of out of left field one. This is a character that whose involvement is like very brief, but made a big impression on me, and that's Arena, specifically in part 2.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
like just
Wait,
having a cool old lady is like always a way to get to like is always something I love seeing, and
Interesting.
Arena is definitely that in part 2. just like she's like not an action woman. She's never been, but like she's seen what's happened, and like she's like,
Yeah, I think she has some of that like Joestar resolve kind of rubbed off on
yeah,
her. That's kind of
wait,
yeah.
is Arena
that's Jonathan's wife.
Jonathan's wife, Joseph's
oh
grandma.
yeah, so Joseph's grandmother or
Yep.
Yeah,
okay. Because I was confused in who you were talking about for a second.
yeah. Like I think I like the scene with her like sort of beating him up in the car, and then like
Yeah.
them in the restaurant standing up to like sort of the racist dude.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's
Yeah.
standing up for Smokey. That
The guy that had the knuckles.
yeah, her involvement is very small, but like just still left a big impression.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very, very cool. It's a very minor character, but I think it really speaks to, Araki's writing that such a small character can make a big impact like that.
yeah,
There's a couple characters from Part 7 that are minor characters, like the minor antagonist of Part 7, the one with the stand that messes with time.
Oh yeah, Ringo.
Yeah, Ringo. Yeah, that's an example of another like character that's.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do agree that Araki can write characters that are, like minor characters that are side characters that end up having like, a great impression on you. I agree with that.
Totally.
Okay. Is that all you have to say?
I think that's all. It's like again not a big role, but
Okay. My number 4 is Bruno Bucciarati from Part 5.
Ooh.
So Bruno Bucciarati, the jokes about him is that he's the mother of the Passion gang.
Yep.
yeah, yeah, I yeah,
I think he's got a cool stance, sticky fingers. And I love the way he fights. He's just very badass. And unfortunately, at the end of Part 5, or about 3/4 of the way through, he dies, and it's very
Yeah.
sad.
Mm-hmm.
But the way how he's like still walking on his feet as he's like near death is like really cool, and I think he's a great mentor character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For the Passion gang, and a lot of people criticize Part 5 for saying that like a lot of the side characters take away from Giorno or like don't let Giorno shine, and I think Bucciarati is like one reason for that. Well, I don't agree with this, but like he always takes the spot. Like remember the fight like on the train at the
Oh,
end?
right. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, where he says Arrivederci. He's really cool.
So he's
And when he's fighting against Diavolo, when he's trying to deliver Trish to the tower, and then like he realizes that Diavolo betrayed them, and then he's like trying to sneak her out, and like he's fighting against King Crimson. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the part where he turned out to like have like clinically been dead this whole time and like just
Mhm.
sort of hanging on that's like a like yeah, Rock is like he's the center of like some really cool things Rocky does, and again his stand also is just like another
Yeah.
weird
Totally.
weird creative kind of application of
A mundane object, yeah.
I
yeah
mean, like opening portals
yeah
with like zippers is just sick. And also, of course, there's the meme where he licks Giorno's face. Just I love him. He's great. All right. So and do you have anything to say about him, Noah?
Um, I do, but uh, spoilers, Bruno is a character later on my list, so I'll save my thoughts for then.
Okay. Um, yeah. Noah and I both really like Bucciarati. And
I do like the mom comparison. He's just
yeah.
Totally.
kind of
It's
having
a,
to hold
it's a
the thing
team
down. Yeah, just have the thing down.
Yeah. And also like with all the backstories of the other characters where he like comes in and saves them, that's really cool. With
Yeah,
Narancia and Fugo and yeah. Um I've heard that the manga of part 5 is better than the anime, but
hmm,
never read it, but apparently he's cool in that too. But yeah, that is my
cool.
number that is my number 4. Bruno Bucciarati from part 5.
Nice. On to number 3. My number 3 character is President Funny Valentine, the antagonist of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7 Steel Ball
Ooh.
Run. Yes. Um, this was a tough one. I originally had Valentine tied with another character for number 3, but I have a feeling that one of you will talk about this other character later. So I'll talk about Valentine here. He's a really cool villain, I think, and one that is the kind of villain I find really compelling.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. He almost feels more like at times he feels more like a protagonist than Johnny does. Like he goes through a lot of struggles. He literally dies hundreds, if not thousands, of times for the cause.
Yeah.
And his goal, is, I mean, theoretically righteous, arguably more righteous than Johnny's. And yeah, I think also D4C is a really, really interesting stand. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
I'm gonna say I'm not a huge fan of the design of D4C because like the rabbit ears, but huh?
Oh, yeah, that's understandable.
But I think the power is like very, very interesting.
Yeah,
And where he like goes through two objects and then like creates like two alternate, it's very hard to understand like what it is. And
yeah,
it is the first main villain uh stand that does not involve time because all of the stands before this have either sped up time like Poochie or
hmm
rewinded time like uh Bites the Dust and the World Over Heaven with
totally.
and what was the other one, King Crimson and the World. They all involve time, but this one
Yeah.
does not, and this one is probably the most creative.
Oh,
uh,
definitely. Yeah. A couple things. First of all, I think that it is confusing, and I think that the D4C arc doesn't really do a good job of explaining how it works. I think later parts of the story it becomes more clear then.
you're
Um,
talking about like the final fight or
yeah, like
what?
the bit on the train,
Yeah.
some stuff before that. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, and second of all, you're right. It's not a time ability. Um, yeah, I think I think it is kind of unique in that it's not like blatantly overpowered as a villain ability, as many of the villain abilities are. Like it's really powerful and like I mean it's a top tier. It's got top tier stats. It's got like a basically an instant kill mechanic if you work it right.
I
Uh,
mean, the way they do end up outsmarting him, and he's like forced to uh, bargain with Johnny.
Yeah. Well, that's after that's after he awakens the Saint's corpse and turns into Love Train. But yeah, that is his like that is his over OP ability that he gets at the end. But uh yeah, for this most of the story, he's just got this pretty simple ability of being able to travel between dimensions. And just I think the idea of like all the versions of a character being like basically the same person because they all have the same goal and just kind of like interchange with each other is really cool and unique.
Yeah, one thing that I like about Funny Valentine is like the scar on his back, where it's the
Yeah,
American flag, and it kind of shows his dedication for his country and like his resolve. If that makes sense. I don't know if resolve is the right word, but you know what I mean.
that resolve definitely is the right word.
Yeah.
There's a really good video by the YouTuber Oceans who goes in depth about like Funny Valentine as a character. A couple videos actually. I'll maybe link them. I'll maybe link them here, but they go into a lot of in depth about like Funny Valentine's motivations, his backstory, his sort of charisma that makes you inexplicably root for him
Yeah.
at times.
Um,
Also, in terms of memes, I really like the Dojian meme.
Doja.
Yeah,
I forgot that was a meme because he says that in some of the games that he's
he
in.
says that in Eyes of Heaven, and I think maybe one of the fighting games.
Yeah, in it's the new one that came out. It's called All-Star Battle R. Yeah, he says Doshan, when and
Yeah,
he actually pulls out a gun too,
nice,
and that's useful.
real
It's pretty
American. That's my American president right there.
Yeah, and I mean like the American like when he teleports, like the American flag goes with him.
Yeah, that's like his medium that he uses most of the time.
Yeah, and no, he's a incredibly well written character. I absolutely agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's great. I like him too. But yeah.
Okay.
Is that all you have to say? Or?
Yep, that's it. Chaos.
Yeah, not having seen part 7, it's still like always cool to hear about like villains that sort of in a way fill kind of a protagonist role.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, like you have like recent examples like Joker and Thanos in their movies, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's always cool to hear about. For my number 3, I've been like debating this in my head, and I think I'm going to go with Diavolo and
Dopium?
what
Topio?
Topio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is just cool villain with a cool character dynamic between them. Just first of all, he's got like a really cool time skip power. It's like a very strange way to like just like a strange kind of power that still like works.
Yeah, as to say, it just works.
It's funny how long it took for people to just like wrap their head around it in
Yeah.
like the
Um,
whole meme. It just works.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
is that what the meme comes from?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
also like
there's two variants of it just works. There's
the Todd Howard one.
Todd Howard one, and then there's the Diablo one.
So, King Crimson is actually my favorite villain stand so
Oh
far.
yeah.
Is it?
Um,
Yeah.
it's just a really cool stand. Like I love the design of it.
Yeah.
How it has like a small head on its forehead, and that's what manipulates the time, right?
Yeah. Well, that's
He's,
the small head is the one that sees the future. That's Epitaph.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, I like the color, the red and white, and like just like the design is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is a great design.
yeah, and
Also, you have of course their split personality. I think the more fun one to watch it between them is Doppio.
Oh yeah. Topio, my boy, my sweet boy.
beat boy kind of, but
I mean, yeah, he is also like, a mafia underboss who's definitely like killed people, but
yeah, but he's
oh, he's so nice. He eats ice cream and talks into a fake phone.
red hair character with um reminds me of someone in a recent anime I watched, but
Ooh,
I might make a video talking about that soon.
Oh,
nice.
so Doppio is actually one of the most beloved characters in the series. Up there
Yeah,
with like Speedwagon, like
yeah.
best boy character of part 5,
hmm
And I have to say about Diavolo, I think he has one of the best character entrances in the series. The way when he turns from Doppio into Diavolo, that is an incredible scene in the anime.
yeah.
Yeah.
They really pulled it off well in the anime.
Yeah.
The
And
voice
his
acting is
reveal is just great. It's really, really good.
yeah, absolutely. Uh,
I mean, he's like a mafia boss. Like that's kind of cool,
yeah, and of course, like the way he goes out is like just crazy.
I mean, it's
It's
brutal.
it's brutal.
Oh yeah.
We still don't know how the little girl killed him.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
it just
um
works.
it just works, yeah. And he has a great fight. So the part with like the blood drops where everyone switches bodies, and
Yeah,
I don't remember who was occupying Diavolo's body at the time. But where Giorno's like walking towards I think it's Diavolo, or it's no, it's Trish, I think.
yeah.
He's walking towards Trish, and the blood drops happen, and then like King Crimson comes out. I forgot who it was that he was hiding in,
It was
but
Trish. Yeah,
yeah, he was hiding inside Trish, and then he like takes off. I think he takes off Giorno's hand, I believe,
that's
or
correct.
arm.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a really sick scene. Like Diavolo has just a lot of cool stuff in part 5. Like, and I think he's a great character. Or good villain and really entertaining villain. When it comes,
totally.
yeah. And the anime absolutely helped him a lot.
yeah taking him down like required them to like sort of pull a crazy power, but like it felt earned, which is
Yeah. Also, I like his hair. He's got my favorite pink hair in the series.
uh,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, his just general design and outfit is just cool. It's weird and cool.
Yep. And yeah, I like his power too.
That is JoJo's in a nutshell.
Yep. All right. So my number 3 is the GOAT, the best Joe bro, and that is Gyro Sapelli from part 7.
hmm
And he is such a badass. He's got my favorite design in the entire series. He's so cool. And I think he's a great mentor character. And it's so don't you think it's like cool that he fights without a stand for like most of the part,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's like incredibly reliable, and his relationship with Johnny is just great. Like when they're, and there's like a bunch of great scenes with him, like when they're trying to win in poker, I think,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
trying to like lose their money, and yeah, just the way he fights is great. I think he's just a complete badass from like from the beginning, like he's just cool, and his design is very iconic. Like I've seen his design before I got into JoJo's, and I was like, whoa, this guy looks menacing, And yeah, I mean, it's kind of sick how like the Joe Bro is also the mentor, which makes sense because he's a Zappelli.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and most of the Zappellis are mentors. Like I forgot the part 1 guy, and then Caesar, but um, yeah, Jiro is just great, and rest in peace. But
Yeah. I mean,
um,
yeah. He really is just like rule of cool personified, and it really works.
Yeah, he rocks the
Grills in
yeah, the grills.
1889.
Yeah, the grills, you know, and he's just great. Like I said, like the green lipstick, like it works really well. And like his hat and his abilities, and you know, obviously the meme, the golden ratio meme is great.
Love it. Yeah.
And like how he's teaching Johnny how to use the spin, you know, he's just a great character, and he's my favorite Part 7 character. And when I read Part 7, I was like, wow, Jiro is the coolest. Now, I'm actually not sure how to pronounce his name. I'm not sure if it's Giro, you know.
I'd say gyro just because, like, you know, gyroscope, that's his power is about like spinning.
Gyro, yeah. Okay. We'll wait for the English dub of the anime to come out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So Noah, I know you are also a huge fan of Gyro Sapelli. What are
I
your
mean, yeah, I mean, of course I am. I almost put him on the list, but uh,
you knew I was going to talk about him, so
totally, yeah.
yeah.
He really is just like, you know, he's got his own little character arc that he goes through. In the, I mean, a lot of the characters have their own development, have their own little developments in this part, which is one of the best things about Part 7.
Mhm.
And like you said, that his relationship with Johnny is, it's really compelling. Really great to watch these two guys, you know, get closer to each other and learn from each other as well. I think they both. I mean, Gyro is Johnny's mentor, but I would argue that Johnny also teaches Gyro some things along the
He
way.
does, yeah. Absolutely. And he's a great horse racer too.
Totally.
Yeah, and
shit, Johnny.
Oh yeah, eat shit, Johnny. Wait, is that what you're talking about? The eat shit, fall off your horse.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
at the beginning.
yeah.
And they end up traveling together, and obviously they get into a lot of altercations, you know, against other characters. And you know, there's also I mean, he does get his stand, or he does get a stand at the end, but he basically just fights with his steel ball for most of the entire part. And that's really cool how a character that doesn't have a stand can be useful and reliable and teach things to Johnny. And you know, there's also the meme where Johnny's talking about his fetish to
Oh.
to Gyro.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that in my Johnny section.
Yeah, how you know, Johnny has a fetish for I believe it's
Bug
bee
bites.
stings.
Yeah,
Oh, bug bites. I was about to say bee stings. But yeah,
it's probably it.
and
That's not a thing I ever thought I'd hear.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's just it's one of the reasons why Johnny is better than your favorite protagonist. Sorry, guys.
yeah. But I mean, a lot of people say that Gyro is the protagonist of Part 7.
Yeah, I mean he has a lot of the same protagonist. Arguably, he's more like JoJo. Like he's more like a traditional JoJo than Johnny is in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And he is the best Jobro. That's why I didn't put, like, you know, Okuyasu on the list or anything. Sorry. Spoilers. And, you know, actually, wait, I think the number 5 through 3 are all Jobros, right? Would you consider do you consider Noriaki Kakyoin to
Oh,
be
absolutely. Yeah, he's
the
he's
Job?
the first JoJo. He's the first JoBro. Well,
Is he? Well, would you
Caesar.
consider him the Jobro of Part 3, or is it Paul
Yeah, I
Naraff?
would say he was the JoBro.
Yeah, and then obviously Bruno is
Also,
considered the Jobro of Part 5.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there can be multiple
First
JoBros.
JoJo? What about our
Well, the
boys?
first JoBro is Caesar, I think.
You know,
Yeah, it's Caesar, then I don't think okay, I mean, I guess there's Speedwagon. Do people consider Speedwagon a Jobro?
I don't know. He doesn't really like fight on the same level as he doesn't really fight on the same level as Jonathan, which I feel like is part of the criteria of being a JoBro.
Yeah, well, there's Speedwagon, there's Caesar, you know, who had the saddest death in the series.
Yeah.
Then there's, I guess, Kakyoin would be considered the next Jobro. You know, the
Yeah.
MILF Hunter himself, you know, and then
Okuyasu.
Okuyasu. Yeah, Okuyasu.
Uh,
He's very lovable, even though he's dumb. And then I would
yeah.
consider Bruno.
Either that or Mista, I think.
Yeah, I would consider Bruno to be the Jobro of Part 5. And then Part 6, I guess it's
I think it's Hermes,
yeah,
probably.
Hermes would be the Jobro, and then Part 7, it's Gyro,
obviously.
and I consider him the best, and he's just a very well written character, and like I said, the coolest design in the series. like he's just sick. I mean, like the coolest cowboy I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything to add? No. Or...
No, I think that's everything.
Okay.
All right.
So it's your turn now.
All right. Onto the number 2 spot.
Yep.
My number 2 character is Foo Fighters, also known as FF.
Hey.
Yes. I mean, honestly, I think I knew I was gonna like FF from the moment they were introduced into the main cast. Like I'm kind of a sucker for like non-human characters who have to learn how to be human, kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a healer. What else is there even to say? Like they have this really
Turn into
cool,
a gun.
yeah, gun girl.
She's just kind of an oddball.
She's considered a stand herself, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that works.
Her body is a stand, or
No, like she is the stand.
Maybe.
That's what people say. Like she is the stand of that girl. And I actually, so that when that girl got blasted, I think she got hit by like a shotgun shell or something. No. Someone. It was Foo Fighters that shot her, right?
I think so.
Yeah, in the lake. I thought that was Foo Fighters. I thought Foo Fighters was that shy girl when I first watched it.
Yeah,
like,
me
oh,
too.
no,
I mean, I knew stuff for. I that was the same thing. I thought I knew. I'd seen that character before. I'd seen that character design before. I thought, oh, this is going to be the character. This is where she's introduced.
Yeah,
and then she got exploded, and I was like, oh, that's different.
Yeah, like blasted, and I was like, no. But yeah, and also another really tragic character. But
yeah, I still haven't forgiven Araki to this day for killing Foo Fighters, man. Like when I read that bit in the manga, I literally cursed Araki out loud. I was like, how could you do this to me?
Oh no,
she was too good for this world.
Yeah, and I mean, she's a very innocent character, I guess.
Yeah, I think innocent is a good word to describe it.
Yeah,
Food Fighters. Yeah, I mean, they're like they're experiencing the world for the first time. Everything.
And obviously Enrico Pucci, he forces her to hide the discs, I believe, or defend the discs.
Yeah, Foo Fighters is hiding the discs for Pucci. But yeah, I mean, I love their speech about at the end when they're dying, like this is like the fact that I'm dying now is the fact that I'm dying now and can't be brought back is proof that I existed. Like this is my existence. Oh, it's so good, man. It makes me tear up.
Yeah. Knowing Noah for a long time, I know that he is actually his name on Discord for a while was Certified Foo Fighters Appreciator.
Yeah, that was when the anime was first. This Part 6 anime was coming out.
Yeah, and it's done now, and we are very nervous about the Part 7 anime. But we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I hope that's good, but I still haven't finished the Part 6 anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will agree that Foo Fighters is a great addition to a great part of our character in Part 6.
Totally.
Yeah, I've not fully watched Part 6. I know the story in broad strokes and how it ends, but Foo Fighters has just been a very entertaining character so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you start it?
I started it. I started it a while back. Just haven't finished it.
Okay. Yeah, but oh man, I mean, she and also her fight against Pucci before she dies is a really cool part.
Yeah, that's really good.
Where she's trying to get water, and Pucci's using White Snake to try to kill her.
Totally.
One of his stands, but yeah. Okay, is that all you have to say?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Foo Fighters from Part 6. So Noah, Chaos, who is your number 2?
Number 2 is probably not surprising to most people that it's going to be Dio.
Oh yeah, the GOAT.
Dio is just a fun character, and I think most of it is due to his voice actor.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
He is in. So he is in so much stuff. He is in like more Gundam timelines than he's not.
Fate
That's
Grand
true.
Order.
I mean,
He's
that's
in
true.
Fate.
Like
He's in Fate. He's in SAO, Code Geass.
One Piece.
What else is he?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's in Code Geass. I'm trying to think. He's in something else.
he is in
Oh,
he's
Guilty
in
Crown.
yeah, he was in Guilty Crown. He's in everything but like
Oh, Guilty Gear. He's
everybody remembers him as Dio for a reason.
I mean,
yeah.
literally, like even
He
now, I
plays
can
Sato.
His performance as Dio is just absolutely stellar.
like
It
even now,
is.
literally when I hear his voice actor in anything else, all I can hear is like muda muda muda.
Yeah, or
No.
Zawaru.
Exactly. Like it's just iconic,
Yeah, Zawaru. But yeah, I mean, he's in everything. And whenever I play a game, like Guilty Gear, for example, and I hear like Zato's voice, I'm like, oh, that's Dio.
Hmm.
Yeah.
His voice is just iconic. Like just like in fighting game. Anytime I do like a punch, like a rapid punch kind of thing, you always think.
Yeah.
And he is actually one of my favorite Japanese voice actors. Him and the voice actor for Sasuke / Shiro Emiya.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Those two are like my favorites because they're so iconic and they just have like a really
That distinct.
distinct standout voice. Yeah.
Yeah. Dio is overacting at his best, and he also has like his sort of more subdued
Yeah.
side, like where he can like appear almost like angelic or whatever at times.
Yeah, I mean, he's the blueprint for like the suave, charismatic anime villain. Like nobody does it. Nobody does it like him. Like even though I like Funny Valentine and some other people more as villains, like you gotta put some respect on Dio's just for being like that.
Yeah, I mean, Dio is very well loved in the like anime community, not just JoJo.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, and he does that transition from like suave, calm, collected, almost divine to like absolutely insane overacting.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
well.
He's incredibly entertaining, and I prefer Part 1 Dio over Part 3 Dio, but and I like his design in Part 1, like the purple, when he's a vampire.
Yeah.
But and obviously he has a very, very iconic stand.
Yeah.
The world. And I mean, and which part of Dio are you talking about? I'm assuming Part 3.
Both.
Okay, because
Dio just.
Dio is also in Part 7, Diego, but I guess you're not counting him. Right?
It's a different character, I think.
Yeah, Diego is different, but yeah, Dio. Well, yeah, because it's a different universe. But he's in Part 6. He's in Part 1.
Yeah, from the little I've seen, Diogo seems pretty freaking different from Dio.
Yeah.
He's very different. Yeah, but he, spoilers. He does get the world at the end.
Yeah, I know about that. He starts out with like a dinosaur stand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like
and he turns into a dinosaur.
He gets like, cool. And then he gets like universe swapped to.
Yep.
Yeah. Long story.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you like Dio, or if you want to like Dio, I would really recommend the light novel Over Heaven. It's an official light novel. I think that it was even approved by Araki. I think it won that contest. Where it basically it's basically like Dio's diary. The one that was like the plot point in Part 6.
Yeah.
It's basically that. It goes into it really digs deep into Dio's like his worldview and his backstory, and just kind of like what his mind. It's I mean, I know Johan, you were kind of complain that you're one of your gripes with Part 3 is that you don't get to see enough of Dio throughout Part 3.
Yeah, exactly.
This kind of goes into like what he was doing during that time.
Interesting.
Which I think is really cool. It made me appreciate Dio a lot more.
Yeah, so when you're talking about the diary, you're talking about the one that Jotaro read and then burned.
The one that Jotaro read and then burned it.
Which is why he's... Yeah.
Yeah, he has the Heaven Planet.
Which is why Enrico Pucci is after the his memory disc.
Yeah.
it's always cool, like with the with JoJo's relationship with like this fan expanded lore, like that in like Purple Haze feedback, like
I'll probably
just
talk about Purple Haze feedback later, but yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Favorite Productions,
Like,
get on that. I want to see a Purple Haze feedback OVA now.
oh yeah,
That
I
would be
like
great. Yeah.
consider Fugo for me like an honorary number 6, like because of that.
Yeah, same here.
And then how there's the Yoshikage Kira,
Yeah,
Mhm.
manga.
I've read to read that, but
You haven't?
I will watch it. I will read it at some point.
Yeah, and like also his relationship with Pucci, and like how Pucci like kind of reveres him as like
yeah,
Mhm.
how a priest views a god kind of thing.
Yeah.
yeah. I think the last thing I have to say on Dio is just like how fun it is, especially in part 1, him just being like pure evil bastard.
Oh yeah. Theo is probably
Every-
the most fun villain to watch just out of all of JoJo.
Oh yeah, I
one of
mean,
the one of the first thing he does when he gets there is just kick a dog for like
Yeah.
existing.
there is I mean there's so many memes surrounding him. I mean he's just like the the walking
Yeah,
towards
you're approaching me.
the you are approaching me, yeah. And
How many
that like
breads have you
that
eaten in your life?
Every dang near every Dio line is a meme.
It's so good. Yeah.
How
Yeah,
many
and especially like the
breads have you
one where the
life?
manga panel where Jotaro is walking towards him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so much to say about Dio.
Yeah, absolutely iconic for a good reason.
Yeah. Okay. Is that everything?
That is all I've got for that. Yeah.
Okay, so my number two, and this is not going to surprise anybody, is Joseph Joestar, specifically
Hey.
in part two. Um, so Joseph is spoilers. He's my favorite protagonist in JoJo. I just thought of him as such an entertaining protagonist. He's so funny, charismatic, and the way he fights and like maneuvers around situations is just very compelling to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think he's the best part of part two. I think he carries part two a little bit. I'm sorry.
I mean, I have to agree with you, man. Like Joseph, like he's really the backbone of that part.
Yeah, and he's got a great design. And yes, I did mention part two, Joseph. Apologies for not talking about part three, Joseph, or part four, but I just think in part two, when he's young, he's such a badass, and he absolutely he fights really well. He carries the show,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I know part two is a fan favorite, and a lot of people say that part two is the best part of JoJo. But
You?
yeah, I've
Huh.
met many people that think that part two is the peak of JoJo, but I'm gonna disagree, and I think that um, Joseph absolutely carries it. Yeah. Um, what else? Let's see. Oh, I mean, he's got a lot of great memes like, "Oh, your next line is."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and to talk about part three, Joseph, for a bit, just all of his little like English mannerisms. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh
holy
my,
shit!
oh my god!
Son of a bitch.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, but specifically part two, I do
Yeah.
prefer. And I mean, I think Joseph Joestar is just the funniest character in the
Yeah.
series. Like when he's young and when he's old, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Joseph definitely. I mean, Hamon isn't wrong in JoJo's, but I do think he uses it the most creatively.
absolutely,
Like
yeah.
he's got the little clackers. I
Mhm.
kind of wish we saw more of those. And he does all
Yeah,
these
the
like weird
crossbow.
like he does those weird like traps with them. It's a lot of fun just watching him
Yeah,
fight, and
and
that kind
like,
of carries over to like how he uses Hermit Purple in some cases.
mhm. And he's very smart, but he acts like an idiot all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I just think, like I said, he's the
I mean, I just love watching. I love watching smart aleck protagonists just kind of like 40 chess around their opponents. Like Lelouch or
absolutely.
some other things like that.
Yeah, but when Joseph does it, it's just so entertaining.
Totally.
Yeah. So my number 2 is Joseph Joestar from Part 2.
Okay.
Good.
Uh, so on to number 1. Drum roll, please. All right. My number 1 favorite JoJo character is Bruno Bucciarati from Part 5.
Yo.
Yeah.
Hey.
So this is the
Yeah.
first or no, we've had 2 characters that overlapped. It was Gyro and Bruno Bucciarati. Yeah.
So yeah, Bruno, I mean, I didn't expect to like him as much as I did, but he really just grew on me so fast. First of all, his stand, it's one of my favorites in the whole series. Like, it's a wacky idea, which is what JoJo does best, and Bruno just uses it in such a fun way to like breaking his own body apart, like using it to travel around. Uh, it's just such a cool idea that's executed in a really cool way. And besides that, like his backstory is so good. Like, again, to plug another light novel, Purple Haze Feedback kind of expands upon Bruno's character a little bit. Talking about how he was a good person, kind of. He did kill those guys, but he was mostly a good person who was just kind of roped into this life of crime, and it wore down on him. It wore down his soul, made him feel. It made him do all these terrible things and support this thing that he hates. And in Purple Haze Feedback, it says something like he felt like, well, actually no, I think they said this in the series proper. It was before he met Giorno, he felt like he was already dead, because of just he was going through the motions. But once he met Giorno, and that kind of relit the fire inside of him, to the point that even after he literally died, he was still able to keep moving and for a little bit longer, and help Giorno achieve his ambition, and he ultimately found peace in that. And he's a really cool character.
Yeah, how's that for dramatic continuity?
Absolutely.
When you were talking about he already felt dead inside, that's foreshadowing,
Totally, yeah. And yeah, he's the mom of the group. That's great. He takes care of he takes in all these people who have nowhere to go, have lost themselves, and makes a home for them. Makes them feel needed. It's great. And the more I think about him, the more he just is just such a great character to me.
Yeah, and I mean, also he's just really cool.
He's so cool. Yeah.
When he fights, he's just a badass.
I just think this fight against Seko was so. I mean, everything after it, he quote unquote dies, is really cool. And I just remember him when he's in Diavolo's body, and he sacrifices his own soul to destroy Chariot Requiem. It's such a badass moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's very helpful. And like I said, the train fight, he's just
train fight, Arrivederci, iconic.
Yeah, and he's got memes, and he's just a great character.
Totally.
Something cool is I feel like his stand was sort of like the prototype for Jolene's stand.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
In terms of design or ability.
In terms of ability and sort of its application, and just sort of being able to break your body apart and use it in creative ways.
Right.
Yeah.
When that happens in Part 6, it's pretty brutal, but
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have to say about Bruno.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. For my number 1, I have Joseph Joestar.
Hey.
Yeah. I think most of what could be said is just said. I love like him being a trickster, and just like sort of like this huge goofball.
Yeah.
Like both him and
Jonathan?
Josuke are just being
Josuke, yeah.
balls are just always fun to watch. But
Yeah.
I think yeah, Joseph's on a whole nother level.
His
Uh,
whole life is a meme.
yeah, I even I, contrary to most people, I like that the fact that he like had a peaceful life and just sort of grew old.
Yeah, I mean, if I recall, he became like a real estate guy or something.
Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah.
He
I can't say I'm a fan of the cheating, but
um
but yeah,
I mean, hey, Nobody's perfect and all that.
him growing old, trying to connect with like his extended family off of what he did was nice to see. I I liked him taking the baby with him.
yeah, and then he like
Would
slits
have
his
been
wrist.
cool to like see what became of what became his new daughter there, but yeah,
Yeah, and he's also the grandfather of Jotaro, you know.
yeah,
Or I was about to say he birthed. His offspring, and then his offspring's offspring became like such an iconic character, you know.
yeah.
With
Hmm.
like great
I think
design. I forgot about Joseph's or Jotaro's design, but I still prefer Gyro's, but yeah. No, I agree with you. He's Joseph is an incredible character, and yeah, I do know people that were really mad about how he turned out in part four. But
can't say I agree there, but uh, I think my favorite Joseph moment though is him beating cars
oh yeah,
by complete
Yeah,
accident and just to make him mad. No, I planned this the whole thing.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
yeah,
I love part two.
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, Joseph is the goat, and when a lot of people thought he was dead in part three, and
Yeah,
some people say that he should have died there, but
I mean, I think
yeah,
it's kind of funny that Joseph is just like the single unkillable character in all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like
yeah,
all the other JoJos die, like all the Joe Bros die, but Joseph he just keeps plugging on. I mean, theoretically he's like 91 or something in like Stone Ocean, and he could have survived the reset. So like, so like he could just still be there, you know?
Oh my god. Wait, so is he still alive? Like, is it confirmed that he's still alive in part six?
I don't know, but
No, I don't think
it's
they
fun to think about.
ever talk about it.
Yeah. So that would be Jolene's great grandfather.
Yes.
Yeah. And okay. Yeah. Interesting. Oh man, the goat. One of my favorite protagonists actually, and if we ever update that video where we were talking about our favorite protagonists, Joseph would end up there for me.
Mm-hmm. Probably should
Okay.
update that video because I, I I need to put Thorfinn up a couple levels now that I've read Vinland Saga.
Oh, I was talking about the other one. The
Oh,
first video, yeah. What makes a good protagonist?
that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, I'll save this meme. Sent this meme in Discord. I'll put it up here.
Yeah.
That's yeah. That's Joseph after pretty much everything,
Yeah.
also including the reset.
Oh my god. And he's also when he's talking to Joseph or Jotaro and Jotaro's playing the video game,
Basically calls him a casual and tells him to get good.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yep,
are we finished talking about the goat?
think so.
I get yeah.
Okay. So, the last character we're going to talk about, and my number one, and if you know me, it's pretty obvious who it is. my number one is Yoshikage Kira from Part 4.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The GOAT. The
That-
GOAT. Yoshikage Kira is my favorite villain in the series. Now, Noah and I disagree on who the best villain is. He thinks it's Funny Valentine, and I think it's Yoshikage Kira. But it's okay. They're both great characters.
Yeah. See, the character I was thinking about that I was tied for third place was actually Kira.
Oh, I
so-
thought it was Gyro.
Right. But yeah, I was thinking about like which villain am I going to pick, but I went with Valentine because I knew you were going to talk about Kira at some point.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were when you said there were two characters that were tied. I thought you were going to talk about Gyro because you know, yeah. But yeah, Yoshikage Kira is like I said, the GOAT, and you root for him. I mean, the entire time in Part 4, I was rooting for him, and I think it's one thing that bothered me about Part 3 was that the villain was not a part of the story, but Yoshikage Kira does the opposite, and Part 4 really like I found solace in Part 4, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or I when Yoshikage Kira was a part of the story, and you see how he lives, and like when he goes to the school, and
Yeah.
when he fights, and also his monologue is great.
Yeah.
And I love the twist about how he uses Cinderella's what is the stand name? Cinderella.
Yeah, it's Cinderella.
Yeah, Cinderella's ability to change his face. I think that
Yeah.
was a great plot twist, and his fights are great. And the memes around him, like his hand fetish, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, there's just a lot of great moments with him. I mean, he's just like I said, I was rooting for him the entire time. He's got a great design. His suit. I could wear something like that.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, he's got the drip.
yeah. What's your favorite design? Is it Kosaku? Is it his
I kind of like his
original?
just original, like David Bowie-ish design. With
Yeah,
the blonde
and
hair.
people call his final design where he has like the white and black hair, the watermelon
Oh yeah, yeah,
watermelon hair. Yeah, that's a great one, and I love how his stand evolves too. King Crimson.
yeah. Nope, that's not it.
Oh, whoops. Killer Queen. Yeah, Killer Queen. Oh my god, why did I say King Crimson? I was thinking Killer Queen in my head.
Yeah.
Bombs. I'm a fake fan. A fake Jojo fan.
Uh,
But I love how it evolves. Like with bites the dust, and then I forgot what it's called. It's like the tank thing, the indestructible tank.
Oh
Sheer
yeah,
Heart Attack.
I don't think that
Yeah,
was the
sheer heart.
evolution. He just like kind of came with that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was just kind of a thing that he had the whole
I
time.
think the really interesting one is how he just incorporated like the cat plant.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
He just like
yeah. The cat plant and his wife. I actually, so I'm not a huge never mind. Uh, before I read part 6, and Jolene happened. My favorite female character in the series was actually Shinobu, who is Kosaku's wife.
huh? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's pretty cute because and also funny because her husband comes home and is acting differently and is pretty clearly unhinged, and she's just like, oh, hubba hubba, oh, you want a piece of that now?
Yeah, it's funny. Well, because now she was bored with her husband, and she
Yeah,
wanted something interesting, and she did find something interesting with a serial killer.
yeah,
And I mean, so here's the thing: if Yoshikage Kira won, I mean, what would have happened is that there would just be a serial killer killing women in
yeah.
Morio. Like, it wouldn't have been like so. Okay, I don't want to say it wouldn't have been so bad. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
get what,
it,
yeah,
it's
it was
not as-
just
it's
like
not
the
nearly
same
as
status quo as before.
it's what I'm saying is that he wouldn't have ended the world, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not nearly as high stakes as like previous parts where you have like vampires attempting to
Take over the
yeah.
world.
The
usurp
world just kind of keeps going as usual, pretty much, except
Yeah.
sometimes time resets because for some reason.
It's just there's just now a regular serial killer just with superpowers.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, oh man, if the guys in part 4 failed, what would have happened? But I mean, like I said, I just think I love I love his journey throughout the entire part, if that makes sense.
yeah,
And yeah, his fights are great. His fight against Jotaro is great.
yeah. And going back to Shinobu for a bit, talking about his like journey, I guess. Like it's kind of funny how kind of interesting how he almost like kind of, sort of develops an affection for Shinobu, like not murderous kind.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. Realistically, he probably would have just killed her at some point. But I would like to think that if he won, he would just like keep playing house with this, like with Shinobu, and like they just kind of keep being unhinged together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
he
mean,
like he would. I think he would have kept her around just like to keep his sort
Yeah,
of
it's just
plot.
like a cover. Yeah,
his
Yeah,
identity, yeah. Uh, and I mean, I think
but it would
it's
have been hard for him to resist his urge to like
killer.
kill.
Yeah,
yeah. And his father was helping him,
yeah,
what else? Yeah, like I said, he just got a great design as well. His suit, he's got the drip. But I mean, it would have been very difficult for him to live in that situation because obviously he can't kill her because it would be really easy for him to get his cover blown. But I also love I forgot what it's called. It's like it's a certain date. It's like September something in the anime. But
I don't remember what it is exactly, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, specifically where he has like the loop, the time loop, you know,
Yeah,
where it keeps
hmm
resetting when with bites the dust, which is a broken ability, and he has to turn it off because
hmm
the kid eventually foils his plan.
yeah.
What's his name again?
Hayato,
Hayato.
Hayato.
Hayato. Oh, that's a great meme. Yeah.
Yeah,
What was I gonna say? But oh, and also I love him in the opening. And it's really cool how the main villain is like the centerpiece of the opening. Um,
totally. Yeah.
Great Days. And
hmm
I made a video about that, my favorite JoJo opening. So link that in description on screen. And I mentioned that there. But like I said, I just love how he's a part of like the you know
Yeah.
uh the opening. And yes, I'm aware that his name comes up in part 8 again. And the main character is called Yoshikage Kira for a little bit.
Yeah. It's confusing
It is, yeah, but
as usual.
and he also has like a side story. There's like a
Dead Man's
alternate.
Questions, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's not animated. Yeah, it's just a manga, correct?
Yeah, it's just a manga.
Yeah, and he has like a different design, but most of the time his original form and watermelon quote unquote Kosaku form
Yeah.
are like his two separated appearances because he does have different powers. And one of my favorite scenes with Yoshikage Kira is where he sheer heart attack is going after Jotaro and Koichi, and he's at a restaurant. He's looking at his watch, and that whole part where he's struggling and his
Yeah.
hand gets like magnetized to the floor, or it like
Yeah.
gravitized to the floor. That's one of my favorite moments in the entire series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I like to see the main villain struggle a little bit. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I do kind of enjoy stories where the villain is like on the same level as the hero for the most of it. They kind of like grow and develop together, and yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and like when he's like when he's like bleeding and like he's disheveled,
Yeah,
and the hooligans show up and like are messing with him, and he has to kill them. Like that whole sequence when he shows up to turn off or to to turn off sheer heart attack.
hmm
Yeah, that whole sequence is very well done, and also that meme. What is taking them so long?
Why is Heart Attack taking so long? Yeah,
Hayato.
yeah,
There's a bunch of great memes, and then obviously you know, his reveal right before he dies.
hmm
But
With that meme.
you forgot
Oh,
his best line though.
What
What a beautiful duang.
classic.
was that? Was that what he said, or was that something?
Okay, the
I thought that was.
inside. Hmm?
No, I know what you're talking about. It's the horrible translation, but I thought that was Josuke that said. Or
No,
that,
it was
not-
Kira who said it. He says it while he's eating the sandwich, and then he says "chew" out loud.
Oh man.
I want to read the. I wish I could read the Duang translation somewhere.
Yeah. I think the manga changes the order, or the anime changes the order of the manga in part
Yeah,
4.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. You guys have anything else to say about the goat?
I think that's everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Those are our favorite JoJo characters. We're really excited for what Part 9 has in store
Yep.
for us, and maybe some new
Yep.
favorites will come from that from
Yeah.
Part 9. You never know.
Can't wait for Giuseppe Zappelli to come again and die for the main JoJo.
Oh no, Giuseppe Zappelli. Oh no. There's gonna be another Italian man that's
Yeah.
gonna be a mentor or whatever.
There's definitely going to be some Italian thing that happens.
Yeah, I mean it's Joseph. Like, have you seen Part 5? That entire part is just Italy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. How many of my favorite characters are Italian too? Because Yoshikage Kira's Japanese. Joseph is British.
Yeah.
And then Gyro and Bruno Bucciarati are both Italian, and then Kakumine is Japanese. So two of my favorites are Japanese, two of them are Italian, and then one of them is British. That's pretty funny.
All right. Well, that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, if you're a JoJo fan, stick around because we're definitely gonna have more videos in the future about Part 9, and
Yeah, if you have any ideas about if you have any more thoughts about what you want to hear about, want to hear our thoughts about JoJo's, or hear what we think about Part 9 as it's coming out, let us know in the comments below, and leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to see more like it.
have a good one.
Good night.